Hello and welcome to the next episode in the Crisis Arcana devlog series. Now, since last time I've made quite a few general improvements to certain areas of the game. For the room world, doors have been added to prevent the player from actually seeing what they're about to face in the next room. Across the whole game, general UI improvements have been made, as well as enemies now drop loot. This loot can range from health potions and mana potions to various coins which have different values when picked up. Money and currency now exist in the game, but as of this moment there is no use for it. That concludes the general overview, so let's get right to it. I started off by deciding I wanted to improve on the backgrounds to the levels. I liked the space theme I had, but I wanted it to look better. So I thought, why not just use the random tile map things I've been using but with random space textures. I designed 4 of these textures and then included them in a script which would place them throughout an area randomly. I set it so these areas would generate around each room, thus meaning I did not have to worry about how far and wide the overall area had to be, as the code would do that for me. I next worked on the doors which would connect the rooms. They prevent the player from seeing into the next room, as well as any of the enemies from that room moving into the room the player is in. However, the player can destroy them. I originally planned that within my room generation script I would have a function which would place the doors in the room. It would have worked by going through an array of doors and then placing them in the correct locations. However, I realised it would be a lot easier to just go through each of the prefabs and place the doors in the correct locations manually. I tried it out, and though they did spawn, they spawned on top of each other, making it look as if the doors were backwards. So, to prevent this, I designed a quick bit of code which would actually delete a door if it spawned on top of each other. However, this led to both doors trying to delete the other and succeeding, meaning there were no doors in that point anymore. I messed around with it for a bit and eventually came to the end result where some doors were spawning, some were backwards, some doors just didn't show up. It was just a mess. It took a while, but eventually I figured it out. Double doors was the way to go. By having the double doors as just one asset, it meant I did not need for the doors to try and delete each other. You could just have the one door. It also meant that no matter what room you were in, the doors always appeared to be as if you're trying to go out through them. With that working, I next decided to add in a simple dark square which would cover all the rooms. This square would prevent the player from being able to see inside of the room, and so they would have to actually enter the room to discover what's inside of it. Looking back now, I might change it so the moment the player destroys the door, then the room behind it is revealed. I next wanted to add some more reason for the player to actually defeat the enemies, so I created some basic loot in the form of health potions and mana potions. Now, I already had a health pickup, so I just copied this code over and applied it to the new health potion script. I then repeated the same for the mana one, except just changed the variables on it to affect the player's mana instead of its health. I made prefabs for the both, including the sprites and the scripts, and then I I placed them into my scene and tested them out and found that they successfully work. I then set about having the enemies actually drop these items upon them dying. I went to the script that overall controls them and added a new function called spawn loot. This function is called whenever the enemy dies. This function will randomly choose from a list of items the enemy can drop and will spawn it at where the enemy just died. I plan in the future I am going to actually increase the spawn rates or decrease the spawn rates for various items and make it more complex as to what the enemies can drop. Next, I decided to add in 3 different types of coins which are worth different values. Bronze is worth 1, silver 5, and gold gives you 10 coins upon being picked up. To finish off, I made some general overall UI improvements. The player's health and mana bars now have a gold outline similar to the experience bar. Speaking of which, I finally noticed that the purple bit in the experience bar didn't actually fill the experience bar itself, so I adjusted that so now it fits. Furthermore, to the hub area in the top right hand corner you can now see a counter for how much money the player has. In the games and worlds themselves, I've also applied the gold outline to the enemy health bar, as well as I've updated the time remaining an enemy killed. No longer is there the big brown square, now there are 2 nice icons to represent each of the statistics. The enemies were now made to also be able to drop the money so you can actually collect it. And that concludes everything I've done. That concludes everything I've done so far. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and that's it. As per usual, if you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, maybe subscribe if you want to, basically be notified when these show up, which at this rate is every 3 days because I've got really good at sticking to that time limit. So that's that. I won't keep you anymore. Thank you so much for watching, and as per always, hope to see you next time. See you later.